Sup, people? Welcome back to Reddit Roundup. Today we will be covering r/relationship advice, where OP struggles to come to terms with her alcoholism. Me, 19-year-old female, getting drunk around my boyfriend, 19 male, is going to affect our relationship. How do I fix this? Yesterday was our 1 year anniversary and we had a fantastic time, until we started drinking. This happens quite often when we drink. I get too drunk, I ask for more, he gets upset, we start arguing, and then wake up with a massive headache and another "I told you so" respectfully. I vow to quit drinking or lower the consumption next time, and then it goes right back to square one. Last night we had such a bad argument while drunk it resulted in me falling, him breaking stuff, and threatening to break up with me to get my attention. All in front of his family on our 1 year anniversary. This is definitely my fault, no questions asked. I just want some words of wisdom on how I can actually cut down or even not drink in social situations. I used to be stupid good at drinking a lot and being cool, but being around my boyfriend specifically activates something in me when I'm under the influence to start a fight with him. I don't know why, and I really want to be able to enjoy casual celebrations and drinking with him, but I really need to change something when it comes to my habit, and I'm really struggling to do that. I don't want our relationship to end, but I don't want to hurt him again. He's getting tired of this pattern, and I can see it. TLDR, every time I drink, I overdo it. Me and my boyfriend end up arguing. It ends up in a cycle of me apologizing and saying I will drink or minimize, to which it never happens. Any words will help, and yes, he did apologize for saying he was going to break up with me. To be fair, I was super manipulative to him right before drunk as well. My advice to OP, if they're watching this, is for them to know that they're not alone. Alcohol can feel like it controls your life sometimes, and reaching out, even by writing that post, is a really brave first step. It can be very challenging to admit that you have a problem, and since you've tried cutting it out in the past by yourself with no luck, it might be effective to reach out to Alcoholics Anonymous or even to your family doctor, if you have one, to go over a treatment plan. And I would definitely consider reaching out to counseling and get some therapy in order to talk out your problems and figure out a way to minimize and eventually cut out your drinking altogether. And definitely reach out to your friends, family, and utilize your boyfriend instead of arguing and fighting with them. Try and use him for support. He definitely wants the best for you if he's in a relationship with you. So I'm sure he'll help and do whatever he can in order to get you the help that you need and support you in any way that he can. Just know that you've got this, and it might be a tough journey ahead, but anything in life that's worth doing isn't going to be easy. And with that being said, let's go on to our next post. I, 24 female, want to cut contact with my future mother-in-law, 45 female, and the rest of my fiancé's 23 male family. So, I'm having a super hard time lately with my fiancé, 23 male's mother. I'll begin by saying I have no hate in my heart for her as a person. I truly believe she has severe issues. Her mother passed away from a fatal disease around a decade ago. She probably suffers from severe depression and anxiety. She probably has personality disorders. She's an alcoholic. I really do feel pity for her. But I'll get into why I want to cut contact with her and keep my daughter, her granddaughter, away from her. My fiance and I have been together for over a year and a half. We got pregnant with our daughter 4 months into our relationship. The beginning of our relationship was pretty rocky. My place of employment forced me into maternity leave due to the physical nature of my job. It wasn't a safe place for me to work in my fullest until after the pregnancy ended. My fiance was working a job that didn't make much money, so we argued a lot, especially over finances. I ended up working 2 jobs to help pay for living expenses. I got mad because I was working more than him. I was pregnant and sick, and my mood and hormones were just all over the place. My fiance reached out to his sister-in-law for a job. She had a baby, so the fiance thought maybe she would have good advice on how to cope with a pregnant woman. I knew he was talking to his side of the family about our issues. It didn't bother me because I knew he needed to vent, and if he was comfortable and trusted them, then they would have given him fair and good advice to help us both. We ended up moving into fiance parents' house a month and a half before I gave birth. I was excited. I had never talked to my fiance's side of the family that much. I didn't know much about them other than what my fiance had shared. They were different from the family I grew up in, but I didn't have an issue with that at all. Our baby was born. She had issues with getting oxygen into our body. Our daughter had to stay in the NICU for 5 days. It broke me seeing her with a CPAP, IVs, and feeding tubes in her. We were fortunate that our stay wasn't long, but it was scary to see her in a state like that. Obviously, everyone knew our situation. My family and fiance's family knew our baby girl was in a fragile state. We got home, and that's when the issues started. Fiance's sister-in-law, Bree, 26 female, brought her son to the house. He was coughing and had been in the doctor's office the same day they decided to come. I know this because she had the gall to text us while she was at the doctor's office for a mandatory exam for our newborn, who literally just got out of the NICU the day before. She saw us from the sick child waiting area. I was very bothered by this. I did not want them visiting if her son was sick, but I know Bree is the type of person to get offended if I told them not to come, so I bit my tongue, and I feel incredibly guilty about this. It ended up being fine in the end, but here's the issue. According to my fiance, Bree told my mother-in-law that her son was coughing and is possibly sick. Bree asked my mother-in-law, not me, if she could bring her son. Mother-in-law said it was fine. That bugged me really badly because they knew my daughter just got out of the NICU, so they could have asked me. I would have told them to wait. They went and made the decision about my daughter without my input or consent. It wasn't my decision to let them come, but the fact that they did not consult me and were not honest with me about Bree's son condition irritated me very much. I got over it, but anytime Bree came over, I stayed in my room with the baby. I thought since I was still in diapers and recovering from a 3rd-degree tear, staying in my room and letting my child sleep was understandable. Life goes on. Fiance and I are doing good. My daughter is 3 months old. When I decided to take a trip to Florida to help my best friend move into her apartment, Fiance was 100% on board. He agreed to let me go for a week and take care of our daughter. I was grateful for the opportunity and had an amazing time. I had posted pictures of my best friend and I paddleboarding on social media. I had mosquito bites on my chest, but they were almost unnoticeable. Haley saw this and took it upon herself to tell my fiance that I was cheating on him, saying I had hickeys on my chest. He saw the photo and knew they weren't. They had an argument about it, then the conversation ended. This was brought up to me when I had returned from my trip. I was deeply hurt by the accusation, so I texted Haley and told her that I would appreciate if she didn't talk badly about me. I was very respectful and grateful in text. She responded with saying that the whole family had issues with me, and she was going to be the brave one and share what everyone thought of me. She told me that I was a bad girlfriend. I dragged my fiance to rock bottom, and I know more than you think about my relationship with my fiance. She started referring to our rocky time during my relationship when I was pregnant and we were struggling. She insinuated that I was toxic and that I didn't deserve to be with her brother. She said, I will always be in his life, even if you are not. She kept referring to my daughter as that baby and made a dig about me leaving the baby to go frolic in Florida. The biggest blow was when Haley said I wasn't the one who thought that one Mark was a hickey after that night out of town. So Bree, Haley, and mother-in-law were all talking about how I left my baby with her father to go cheat on him. Nice. I have had countless conversations with my fiance's mother about it, and she would say things like, Haley was just expressing a valid concern. She doesn't know you. She doesn't owe you the benefit of the doubt. When I told mother-in-law I wish she could see this from my perspective, she responds with, I don't have to validate your feelings. I'm not your mother. And that one hurt. She claims she's not the one to pick sides, but obviously that's BS. Haley and Bree both hate me. Mother-in-law says she has nothing to do with it, but I know she was a big contributor to the nasty rumors and trash talking. We had a phone call where she said that she was willing to move forward and wanted to have a relationship with me. This happened right after the phone call she had with fiance about how I was making demands. I wanted to have a sit-down conversation face-to-face with Bree, Haley, and mother-in-law. If not, then contact with my daughter would have to be minimal. She also stated in her phone call with him that people don't sit down and talk about their feelings. Stuff happened, you get over it, then you move on. And your fiance, me, did things to hurt me too, but I'll never tell her. I'm not sure what I did that hurt her, but I would love to know. Anyways, I am to the point where I know I will never be getting an apology from any of these women. They don't want me to talk about it with them anymore. I don't either, but I also think that these women are awful and I don't want to hang around them. I also don't think they deserve to be around my daughter. They want to have a relationship with her and my fiance, but literally ignore me at family gatherings and treat me like I don't exist or belong in their family. They think I'm crazy, emotionally abusive woman, but none of them know anything about me at all, other than my issues with my fiance. My question is this: do I have the right to withhold my daughter from them if they refuse to acknowledge me and what they did to me and apologize? That is what I want to do. My fiance and I just bought a house. I am no longer living with mother-in-law. I struggle with this because I don't want to use my daughter as a way to force them to say sorry, but I don't want them to have a relationship with my child if they aren't going to treat me with respect. I gave birth to my daughter. I am very protective of her, and my mama instincts are giving me faint red flag. How do I lay this boundary? How do I talk to my fiance about this? Please help. Edit. My fiance has my back. I had a talk with all his brothers, the husband of the sister-in-law, and they basically disowned him. They haven't talked to him since this blew up. Fiance is fine with me setting my boundary. I don't have an issue with him talking about our personal problems until the woman in his family started making assumptions and painting me in a bad light to each other. I don't believe he feels or felt the same way they feel about me currently. This isn't my fiance. This is my desire to go no contact with his mother and sister-in-law. That's it. OP, my advice to you is to do whatever's best for yourself and your family. My only issue is that if his brothers are disowning him for what he did, I feel your fiance might be more to blame for this than you might be leading on. Either way, it sounds like his family, sisters, and mother are not the greatest people that you want your daughter to be around, so it might be best to cut contact with them, at least until they realize the mistakes of their ways and apologize and try and make amends. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if so, please drop a like and leave a comment on which subreddit you'd like me to cover next. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell to never miss an upload. With that being said, this has been Reddit Roundup and r/relationship advice. I'll see you in the next one. Bezace mafkers.